And good evening, everyone. We are back on the ALTTPR League Twitch channel with more Week 7 ALTTPR League action. I am Cool Papa Bell 2282. Commentating alongside me is Zethno. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to see some co-op Enemizer madness going on here. So we've got Link Finds a Way versus Beard Force 1 in the Tower of Hera division. Deryk and OvidiusNaso versus DarkShadows59 and Unknownavailability.
Yep, so for anyone joining us for the first game this week, the co-op will allow the players to talk to each other and tell each other which locations they see in the game. So on both sides, you'll likely see the players going in different directions and skipping a lot of chests that their partners have already told them are not important. The big thing for the players this time is that it is an enemizer, so all of the enemies will be scrambled across the world, and the bosses are on a full shuffle. So every boss will appear at least once, with 3 bosses showing up twice, and it looks like we are underway. All 4 starting in Sanctuary. That's interesting.
Yeah, I would expect to see some runners maybe start in Link's house and head the south route to Kakariko maybe, but looks like both teams are going to send one person off to do a Houlihan glitch and pick up some rupees right off the bat.
Deryk trying to get the fish item, but didn't get anything from that angle. It makes sense, because by sending someone over here to get the early money, you'll have someone that probably has enough money to do the Zora check early. Well, earlier. Both runners remembering to go into the cave. If you forget that, you're going to end up in the wrong place. ₹5. No doing Aga for that item today.
And then we will see if runners head straight over to Kakariko or maybe up to Uncle.
Getting some really nice sync on the top here. And then they go different directions.
All right, so it looks like Deryk is going to go buy some bombs with that cash and might head into Saha's closet, whereas Dark is going to take that new shiny bottle over toward Kakariko. We'll be able to check out Sick Kid, and it looks like Beard Force 1 is just going to want to clear out Kak as quickly as possible.
Dark getting both bomb drops there, getting himself two bombs. That we got a map check, but that was Tower of Hera was a red crystal, Eastern was a crystal, and I did not see desert.
Looks like all crystals in the light world, according to our trackers.
Well, that definitely makes things interesting. So they'll want to go into all of the dungeons that are in the light world. This game is a defeat Ganon seed. They will need 7 crystals to get into GT, and they will need 7 crystals to defeat Ganon. Oh, flippers on unknown side. That's going to be helpful to the runners, because this way they don't have to fake flippers, because fake flippers with Enemizer is a little bit risky. If you get hit, you'll die, and you never know where those unfortunate enemies are going to be located.
Yeah, and I think those early flippers are going to make both teams happy that they did that Houlihan glitch, planning ahead for that Zora money.
But Chicken Hut has 4 chickens.
Is that even legal?
What are the odds that we got 4 chickens in Chicken Hut? That's normally my favorite room to watch as a viewer. Deryk taking a death in Mini Moldorm Cave. That's always my favorite room to see an Enemizer when I'm not playing. When I'm playing, that's definitely not a room I look forward to. But that's... And we got a sword on Dark Shadow side. But 4 chickens, that's very easy.
Yeah, that was a really unfortunate mini Moldorm cave to have to do with just bombs. Those shadowy wall creature things are really difficult to time with the bombs, so...
Yeah, mini Moldorms can like the dodge. We got 2 Lionels defending Eastern Palace, 3 Lionels defending Eastern Palace, 4 Lionels. Wow, that's... Saha's really defending himself well today. That's more Lionels than Ganon uses in the normal game.
That was 4 Lionels and Saha's pet fish just flopping around outside.
Surprised one of the Lionels didn't eat the fish. But Dark Shadow just picked up Ether.
And he is unfortunately standing outside of Mini Moldorm Cave with 0 bombs at the moment. Or rather, unknown availability is.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I think he's hoping to get one from the Gyarados, but Gyarados take a lot of hit, and he gets a full magic. Much appreciated, but not what he wanted. I think in a lot of games, Ether isn't too big a deal, except for getting into the dungeons. But in Enemizer, it can be quite helpful in some of those harder rooms, just to freeze some enemies, or in the less common cases, kill some enemies.
Also got a cape on the library shelf, which is interesting for sure.
Well, if we find something on Bumper Cave eventually, that'll be something there. Getting a comment from our restreamer, but is Saha just a prisoner this time, or the Lionel's guarding him, keeping him in his room? There really haven't been any major items found yet. The flippers, and a sword. Makes you think of where the runners may be able to go. They can go, once they finish their overworld checks, do they just go into Eastern?
Yeah, it's looking like that might be a good play, because there's not a whole lot of other options. I mean, we can do those flipper checks, but there's also still Agina's Cave, but that's a pretty far-flung one-off check. We do also still have Escape to do, which looks like Dark Shadows and Unknown Availability are splitting those 2 up right now.
That definitely makes a lot of sense to me. Those are the 2 most dense locations.
Gosh.
Sorry, you go.
I was going to say a Crystal Roller and a Chain Chomp there in Eastern Palace. Not pleasant.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to be commenting on. That it was not a pleasant room. The escape that we're seeing on Unknown's side is much more pleasant. Her uncle's hallway.
Yeah, that glove there is a good find. That opens up back of Escape and some Death Mountain possibilities.
Runners will definitely be happy to find a glove. They're now going to be looking for that hammer too, or the mitts to get them Dark World access. They will still need the pearl as well, but we will see how that turns out. Unknown getting a little bit blocked. The game has been actually relatively generous with the hearts. They are at 5 hearts, or 6 hearts. But if you get some of those Dark World enemies, 6-heart green mail, you're still going to die in 2 hits, so they all have to be a little bit careful.
Yeah, and those spikes have a way of placing themselves in very narrow pathways in Enemizer.
Yeah, it's not made to do that, but it feels like it is. We're getting Deryk checking the hobo. I don't think we've seen that yet.
Yeah, I think this is our first flipper check that we've actually seen from anyone.
Oh. Yep, well, like right there, that thief. If he was fake flippering, he would not be alive.
Yeah, even though the thieves don't do damage, they still will kill you in fake flipper state.
Dark
Oh, they
Shadow
don't.
doing a dark room. That's an Animizer. That's he's got a Wallmaster in there.
I see. Restreamer correcting me. It's a different sort of bad news if you run into a thief on the water.
Oh, you just soft lock. Oh, okay. That's not really any better than dying.
Yeah, really not.
You're gonna end up at the same place. We're getting Deryk checking the waterfall fairy. Nope, nothing there.
Finds the last 20 bucks he needs to get over Zora money, though, so that's very convenient.
Yeah, that's normally you find 20 rupees and you're unhappy, but he's probably quite happy with the placement of those 20.
Ooh, that's a Cane of Samaria on Zora Ledge.
Well, they'll definitely be picking that up, which is great for them. I wonder what Zora will sell us today. Moon Pearl.
Wow.
That's worth 500 rupees.
For once, I was gonna say, yeah, it's actually worth the extortion from Zora there, but sorts of things always make me wonder which side all of these NPCs are actually on, considering how difficult they make things on Link or Deadpool or whichever sprite you happen to be.
Yeah. Ovidius doing the other Houlihan glitch. I guess we'll see how things with Back of Escape has the land. That, in a normal game, most runners don't really need it, but in an Animizer, oh, is that nice.
Yeah, and logically, that puts us pretty close to Aga actually being in logic. Either boots to get that cape or a second sword would put the Aga Tower climb in logic now.
So, Eastern Palace is not in logic because the logic will still require them to have a bow. However, those normally bow-locked rooms will not be locked by bow enemies because the Animizer will not put bow required in there. So they can actually complete Eastern Palace. To any of our newer viewers or newer players, that Houlihan glitch where you did see the runners do two different ones, it will still only work once. Even if you try the other method in the same game, you won't. It'd be a very, very fast way to get 500 rupees, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, the Houlihan room is actually a error handling sort of thing, that if you fall down a hole and the game doesn't know where to send you, it just sends you there. So it's actually a sort of debugging thing trying to prevent game crashes, but
Ovidius is picking up his rupees here in the Rupee Cave Year Desert. Nice quick stop if you're in the area. Deryk is going to be going up the mountain.
yeah, it looks like Dark will be following.
Not a lot of checks there. They can only really get 2 checks, I believe.
Yeah, so from what we have not seen from any of our runners, we're down to those 2 on the mountain and then Agina's cave that we can actually access logically right now.
I'm thinking there's a hammer myth somewhere. We have the Moon Pearl, so with either hammer or myths, we will have Dark World.
I guess there could be the 4th chest in Eastern Palace that we haven't seen. And yeah, I believe Dark Cross is a key, if I'm not mistaken.
I think we saw someone do Dark Cross in the dark. I think that was the dark room we saw on Dark side. I
Okay.
believe that was a dark room. It's hard to know exactly which dark room they're in times, especially with Atomizer. We have a visible shovel up on Spectacle Rock. That tells them nothing. And here's the hammer. So, 14 minutes in, we have Dark World access.
All right. So, any fans of Aga? Looks like we're not going to see Aga Tower today.
Nope. As there is no key shuffle, that tower will only contain small keys. So I'm going to take a guess and say Deryk is going to head into. We've seen most of the light world checks that they can do, and since he's the first to have the access, I figured this let him in and start doing checks, while Ovidius ends up the rest of the light world.
Yeah, Beard Force 1 is going to get their information about Dark World very soon here. Although it looks like Linka finds a way, will be a little bit faster to get both of their runners into the Dark World.
So their Dark World access required them to go all the way to Zora and buy the Moon Pearl, as well as go up Death Mountain with only 2 items available to pick up the hammer. That's not particularly friendly placement.
Yeah, and also, unfortunately, I just realized Unknown does not have Zora money right now, so he will not be able to buy that Moon Pearl on this trip.
That's unfortunate. Dark Shadow doesn't have it either. So Beard Force 1 doesn't know that that's the Moon Pearl. That could be really unfortunate.
Yeah, they're definitely going to get sort of railroaded into that, unless, heaven forbid, they actually manage to get something that's going to put Aga in logic for them. Because pretty soon they will have absolutely nothing else to do besides that Zora check.
Yeah, I think they're going to do it. There's almost nothing left. I don't think there is something that they can do. Oh, wait, Dark Shadow has Master Sword.
Whoa, where did that happen? Was that Dark Cross?
It could be, because he was the one that I saw in a dark room, and I thought it was Dark Cross.
Yeah, that might have been Dark Cross or somewhere in Eastern Palace, because I think he's the only one who has dipped that.
Yeah, I'm being told by one of our trackers, Dark Cross was the sword. So that could be unfortunate. If Dark Shadow decides, I have the sword, I'm going to go in and do Aga to get Dark World access, that could put them behind. He is farming money, so it does make me think he's going to go do Zora first. And if you're cheering for Beard Force 1, you should be saying, oh, thank God. Deryk finds the mirror right in the front of Thieves Town. That gives them Swamp Palace checks. Quite a few, not enough to finish the dungeon because they do not yet have Hookshaw. Got Dark Shadow and Desert checking Gina. I think Unknown is now going to go do his Houlihan. Nope, just doing back of escape. Ovidius has a Master Sword as well. Did he do Dark Cross?
He just did Dark Cross just a minute ago.
I was looking at the other side of the screen here, but I was wondering if he found another sword. That would be quite fast.
So yeah, Ovidius is going to grab his hammer, and I would have to think he'll probably head into the Dark World in the Hype Cave area, and sort of let Deryk take care of the north side, although he might want to grab that mirror and then head south, potentially.
Well, I think Deryk might just head and do that south Dark South Shore checks. Ovidius may, well, probably Hype Cave, yeah, but I'm thinking he'll go east over to Death Mountain side. Or not Death Mountain, Pod side.
Yeah, now that Deryk has jumped down and sort of lost his access to the village, he just did the front of Thieves, so he looks like he'll be rushing for Hype Cave.
Well, they do have access to all of? No, most of Pod. They will need a bow. That is the one place you need a bow because that statue will still be there. And they have access to a good bit of swamp, so there are 2 sets of shacks. Deryk finding the mitts. A little dirty. That gives the runners a lot of access.
Yeah, a ton of options for them right now. A bunch of stuff back up Death Mountain with the mirror and mitts. So plenty of choices, and both of them are in South Dark World right now.
I think the only dungeon they can't get into is Mire because they don't have the clue.
So Beard Force 1 now does have that information about the Moon Pearl, and Unknown beelining for the rupee farming cave in the desert area.
Hype Cave having a lot of rupee. Getting a quick check of the map there. Thieves Town is green, Skullwoods is red, pendant. Apparently Turtle Rock was the other pendant.
I believe Mire was our second red crystal. And yeah, we saw Unknown there actually not doing the rupee farming, just going to head straight to Aegina's Cave for a 300 in there. As Ovidius picks up the sword from Stumpy, which will be tempered for him. We'll see if Deryk goes back for Master Sword. Since he's already visited Back of Escape, he won't really ever have a reason to be back in the Hyrule Castle area. Well, we could mirror to it from right here if he thinks that extra firepower is worth it.
If he's gonna do the pyramid check anyways, he's not too far away. It looks like he is switching to mirror, so it looks like he will grab it. It would be a long way to come if he wasn't already in the area, but here it shouldn't be bad. Just some arrows and
And yeah, he's going to head to the castle. That tempered is such a big upgrade.
yeah, every upgrade right up until tempered does a huge amount to help the runner get around the world faster. The upgrade to butter is slightly less useful. Due to the fact that the spin damage on butter is the same as its slash, which is the same as tempered. Dark is giving us some Skullwoods checks. Takes a death. Pretty sure that was just a warp to the entrance. A little bit faster. He does not yet have Beard Force 1 in general does not have them.
Yeah, Dark Shadows headed straight up to Skull Woods once he went into the Dark World.
I think that's a good option as a play to make. Fortunately, unless he finds something important here, it may lose him a little bit of time. Always lovely trap placement there in Skullwoods around all the pits.
Yeah, and Skullwoods is one where it being a pendant actually makes me a little bit more likely to go there, right? Because you sort of hope you'll just find the 2 items in the front and never have to worry about going to the back.
the other hand, the players could decide that because it's pendant, maybe we just don't need to go in there and time spent in the dungeon could just be time away from completing the goal. It's a choice. If they find if he had found something important in here, that would be huge because I don't think Link Finds a Way will be coming into this dungeon anytime soon. DarkShadow chose not to bomb jump. He may just go in. He didn't go around. He was in that room. He didn't check the big chest, but he got the big key. He must have gotten both items. Ooh. Deryk taking a death to a chain chomp. That room in Eastern Palace that we commented earlier was unpleasant.
Yeah, taking that death after not being able to pay off Kiki. Seems sitting at 97 rupees there. So he might want to grab some rupees from the back of Eastern.
Always unfortunate when you get to a spot like that and you have just 2 rupees. You're mostly thinking about Zora when you're picking rupee. There are a bunch of other things around the world that take a little bit of money. Ovidius will be giving a new check over here with Myth. Actually, I think someone else was doing hammer pegs, so maybe somebody else has already done.
Yeah, I think Deryk went straight south for them, and then OvidiusNaso is sort of cleaning up everything around this part of the world, coming up from the Hype Cave side.
Makes sense. Clearing up even some of the longer checks. There's a nice little chicken in Eastern Palace there. Cleaning up some of the longer checks, so his partner can go through the crystal dungeons while he's doing overworld. It'll mean that Deryk might end up a little bit ahead in crystals, but the racers are scored on the average time between the 2 racers in final times.
Yeah, Ovidius opted out of Purple Chest, apparently more interested in getting up to Death Mountain and seeing what's up here. Again, shooting for that item density, I think.
It makes sense. Deryk is nowhere near this check, so if he wants to check this first, Deryk finding burn that DarkShadows have.
Ooh, Deryk just dodging a wall master there.
Ovidius is about to give us a check on... Wow, that BMOS is in a really bad place. Ovidius is about to give us the Turtle Rock entrance medallion. And it is Ether. He can get in. There's only one medallion they have, and Turtle Rock was kind enough to give them that one.
And we've had that red cane for about 10 minutes or so now, so I would be tempted to at least duck in there. Depending on how the keys are laid out, you might not be able to get very far in Turtle Rock.
They also don't have Fire Rod to do those 2 checks, and it is a pendant.
Yeah, so if that first chest is not a key, you can't get any further than that.
He's opting to do Super Bunny first. It's Dead Rocks on Ovidius' side. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, Dead Rocks always manage to get in your way. Looks like Unknown's going up to Cap.
Yeah, this is another... I was going to say, this is another gamble of sorts, right? It's an out-of-the-way check, but that means if you find something there, your opponents are pretty unlikely to check it anytime soon.
That's pretty much exactly what I was going to say. This could be that one check that brings them a little bit closer to where Link Finds a Way is. That's a really fun name to try to actually pronounce all the time. Oh, flute! Hype Cave. No, Hype Cave. Paradox Cave, sorry. Paradox Cave has the flute on Ovidius' side.
That is definitely a good find. And meanwhile, Deryk's showing us our first boss of the run, which is an Argus inside Eastern Palace, so gonna need the hook shot there.
Of course, it's one of the only 2 bosses he can't actually kill. 3 bosses. Now, I think with that flute find, I think they can get, well, they can check what my medallion, but apart from that, they can get into every dungeon, or at least see the front of every dungeon. They're still quite a ways from finishing them all.
Ooh, and boots as well. So Ovidius finding both of the movement items for Link finds a way.
I think that means Deryk's going to be up on Death Mountain as soon as he finishes this dungeon. Flute and boots, just such a big time save overall.
Ooh, Dark Shadows, though, finding the first bow in the big chest of Thieves Town.
That's important. That allows them to finish pod. We are being told by a viewer chat that Thieves Town was also Argus. I must have missed when a runner went in there, but that would mean that we found both Arguses, so we won't find another one.
Yeah, since Dark mirrored out, he must have checked that on his first trip into Thieves Town there. Of course, in Boss Shuffle, you do not need to actually bomb the floor to make the boss appear.
It makes it a very quick chat to get in there and check the boss. Unfortunately for him, it was one to do.
That does tell us, though, those are the only Arguses that we are going to see on the Boss Shuffle settings. As we mentioned before, no boss will appear more than twice.
There are still cold stairs and Trinexes out there that the runners can... Wow, that is an interesting room on Deryk's side. It's a pretty tame area there. Dark Shadow checking graveyard legs. Anyone else got in here? I haven't seen anyone go in yet.
Yeah, I don't think so. So first mail upgrade, definitely a good convenience item for Beard Force 1.
Yeah, in Enemizer, you never really know how many hearts you're going to get, what kind of enemies you're going to get, so mail upgrades are always nice. This game has actually been pretty nice. It looks like the runners have about 10 hearts overall. Dark Shadow a little bit behind, but 10 hearts in blue mail is not that bad. Deryk going with the hammer. Looks like he's having a little bit of issue finding exact placement. But he finds it. Gets himself a piece of heart. Ovidius is pretty much already at the top of Tower of Hero. We're gonna get another boss check.
So I think if Deryk did that hammer yump there, that means he did not do the right side, is maybe not thinking about how in Enemizer you can do that without the bow. And that could cause some problems because Beard Force 1 just found the hook shot over on what's normally the bow lock side of Pod. So if Deryk does not think about checking that, that's going to be real rough for Link Finds a Way. Okay, no, he's headed to the right side right now. So yeah, I think he was just doing that hammer yump to be able to check everything in the back before doing the right side.
Yeah, if he's going that road, then that's sad. Dark Shadow is about to find the mitts. It was actually on 1 dig, I think. That was a fast digging game. Other runners will have the same digging game, so they have that. Deryk, I was about to say at 1 health, but takes a death. As we have Ovidius going into Turtle Rock.
So we have found a lot of our key items at this point, with the hookshot and bow being found very recently. Still looking for fire and ice rod.
Yeah, fire rod, ice rod, whatever we need to get into Mire. I think that's actually all we need.
Yeah, medallions could still be a concern. We saw Ovidius find the big key in the first chest of Turtle Rock, meaning he cannot go any further without that fire rod, so...
At least his team now knows that. We've seen all these, you know? Everybody is, as they're going over the checks that they have each already done, I'm just going to remind everyone, to the runners that follow. They've been putting on a great show so far, and I'm sure they will continue to do so, and would appreciate the support. Now, where do you think DarkShadow's going? I don't know where his team's gone, so it's hard to make a call, but... Oh, he's got purple.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like Swamp is the next logical place to go, since both of our teams have just found that hookshot. This is one of the trickier things about these co-op seeds, is because you really want to be going a different place as your partner, so you're covering as much of the world at once as you can. But when you run into a spot like this, where it sort of feels like the seed is funneling you in a particular direction, like, do you both just go to the same place because that feels right, or do you send one person off to maybe do some one-off checks just to be sure that you're covering as much ground as possible? It's a tough call right now.
Yeah, I think DarkShadow autopiloted there. He took the purple chest all the way into the actual desert. I'm not sure, maybe he was asking his partner if he checked Desert Ledge? I'm not sure what thought was. Piece of heart and bonk rocks. Not help.
Yeah, Deryk is going right back into Eastern Palace to finish off that Argus in the back.
Yeah, I am surprised they didn't go into Swamp since he was there. And they haven't checked it. It would give them a lot of information if there was anything important there. It's always great to complete a pendant, but he's going to be going. He's going into Dark World. I'm not sure what he must be going into. What?
Yeah, seems that way. He might want that hook shot. Because Unknown still has to go pick up Mitts and Mirror from the Village of Outcasts area.
I didn't realize he didn't have hookshot yet. His partner shot. That's why he didn't go to Swamp.
Yeah, they might be thinking that Dark is going to go to hookshot and go to Swamp, while Unknown goes to pick up all of the Death Mountain stuff. That would be an option.
I was commenting that Ovidius was at the top of the tower here, and then I missed what boss was there. He finished the dungeon, though.
Yeah, I totally missed that one as well.
So, it was obviously a completable boss. Apparently it was Mothula, coming from one of our track. That's definitely a pretty easy boss overall, as long as you don't find it in Skullwoods.
And I think over for Link Finds a Way, the path is a little bit clearer because you have Deryk with a hookshot who can go do Swamp Palace. Ovidius having that flute can go check out the Mire area and then maybe make a decision from there.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good plan. They do need that bow. I believe the bow was in the back of Thieves Town?
Yeah, so that could definitely be a stumbling block for them.
The thing is that they've both gone into Thieves Town already and cleared out those first 4 chests. Now, most runners do that as part of their overworld, so that does make a lot of sense, but it does mean there's a lot less chests with items, so it's less dense. It makes me a little bit worried about when they'll go in there. Fortunately, they don't really need it, except to finish pod.
Yeah, and of course there is a second bow floating around somewhere in the world, so if they can find that one, they might not need to go back into Thieves Town.
Yeah, but it could also be like Monday night's seed that had the bow up after mini Helmosaurs, and you need to find the bow in the pendant dungeon to finish the seed. This seed can be very nice or very mean, either way.
Speaking of very nice, Ether is also our medallion for Misery Mire.
No more required medallions. That said, I think the runners would like a Bombos, because Bombos and Enemizer are great pairing. A little bit of talk of which bosses are nice to see in Skullwoods from the chat. And yes, there's 2 bosses that are very nice to see in there, and everybody else is gone. Moldorm is a very easy fight because he doesn't work very well on the conveyors. His pathing has some issues. He doesn't know what he's doing. And Helmosaur is just hilarious. Deryk picking up his flute.
So Link... Oh, go ahead.
You can say on Linka Finds a Way, they're looking for bow and the 2 rods. And on Beard Force, they're looking for flute and the 2 rods. From us, the viewers, we're looking for the 2 rods.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. Which screen were you looking?
Oh, I was looking at that Trinex.
Oh, where? Pod?
Yeah, Trinex and Pod. I was just about to comment that the upside is Dark Shadows will only have to make 1 trip into Palace of Darkness, but then Trinex appeared.
Well, that's actually great for Link Finds a Way at this point. They have neither rod, and they're missing the bow. So they can't go to the back of Pod because they don't have a bow, and even if they could get there, they don't have the rods. So it's actually going to save them some time because it's Trinex.
Yeah, they were stuck on double dipping Pod already, so the fact that their opponents will also have to is pretty nice for them.
Getting a hookshot cave check on Deryk's side while Ovidius is in desert. Don't be finding anything of value, though. That turtle on hookshot on Deryk's screen, that is a really unpleasant place to find a turtle. Going to use the ether.
Does that work on the turtles? I thought Quake would knock them over, but...
Oh, he had the turtle in the exact right spot and he walked off the ledge. That's unfortunate. You know, it seems these seeds always have some unexpected enemy that is extremely difficult. Last night we actually had a Annie Fairy in the left side of Swamp, the back side's diver down room, and all 4 of our runners went in, tried it once or twice, said nope, and went the long way. Looks like it'll be the turtle.
Yeah, that's the joy and the pain of Enemizer, is that you're just gonna get blindsided by some random enemy in a weird spot.
So I'm being told by a restreamer in chat that there is a clip of that Annie Fairy issue yesterday on the Discord, so if you're interested on the Discord, please do take a look. Meanwhile, Deryk is going into Tower of Hera. His partner has already finished it, so he knows it's completable. just coming up here to get that crystal. Dark Shadows finishing up Argus, and I'm sure he's going to be very happy to get his team's first crystal.
Yes, Deryk is Hera-potting up there. Makes this a very quick trip into Tower of Hera.
Especially since he knows there isn't anything important in this dungeon. Basically just skip everything. Moldorm Desert, which is already completed by Ovidius. Getting second crystal. So both players on Link Up finds a way getting crystals, one of them being the same, one being different. Looking at Unknown side, he's got a Beamos in the overworld. There seem to be a lot of Beamos this seed.
And interesting that Unknown did not go ahead and defeat that Argus in Thieves' Town. Would have been a reasonable play since that's the green pendant.
He's taking a chance that the green pendant won't be necessary. That's a risk. Ovidius opening up Meyer, so we're going to get a whole bunch of new checks on his side. I think Deryk is in Spike Cave. Getting a new check there too. Hookshot strats. Dark Shadow actually in there at the exact same time, also using hookshot strats. Finds a Pitar. We were commenting that we thought Dark Shadow was going to go into Swamp, but it looks like Unknown will be the one to do it for Beard Forest 1. Ovidius having a easy but unpleasant room in this kill room in Mire. That's a lot of small enemies to get rid of.
Especially without the hookshot, you actually have to time and kill those berries when they are not electrified.
Yeah, it's unlikely to have killed him or caused any real issue, but it is a slowdown. In a race, that's important.
I'll take this opportunity to complain that the very metal hookshot is totally fine with the electric enemies, but the very wooden hammer is not. Makes no sense.
Well, I agree. I also think if you use bombos in a room that has torches, you should be able to light them. I mean, you blew up the entire screen. I think they'd stay lit. But in the meantime, I'm Unknown doing those swamp checks. We got to our viewers out there, join in with us and take a guess at where you think we might find these rods. There's a lot of items. Ice Rod can be pretty much anywhere that's not GT. So, get your guesses in chat.
And I think over on Link Finds a Way's side, they're gonna be pretty likely to find one or the other in one of these two dungeons. And certainly they'll be finishing up crystals as they're doing it, so they're making some good progress here toward completing the seed one way or another.
Yeah, all four of our runners in Crystal done. In 3 different dungeons. Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, where we're having check. Where else could they be?
Yeah, between our 4 runners, we've seen most of the overworld stuff like the boots checks, graveyard ledge, those sorts of one-off things. This will be the second 5-6 crystal for OvidiusNaso, assuming that he can finish Misery Mire here, as long as we don't have a Trinex on the boss.
Has anyone checked Bumper Cave? Has anyone looked at what's on that ledge?
Yes, I think it was just total junk. Particularly since Ovidius did pick up the cape off of the library, so he could get the item if it was worth getting.
I'm just trying to think of some of those out-of-the-way checks that we might not have checked, but... Both games seeming to be in interesting location today.
Yeah, so it's definitely feels like Link Finds a Way has the lead at this point. Dark Shadows is just now making the first trip up Death Mountain for Beard Force 1, but I feel like that bow cannot really be underestimated. There's definitely some possibilities that that could trip up Ovidius and Deryk throughout the rest of the seed, depending on how long it takes them to get back to Thieves Town, or if they can actually find another bow somewhere. Oh, and Deryk almost got that diver down with these fire bars in the way.
You know,
and just got knocked out of it.
I was mentioning it yesterday, or earlier today, that there was some issues with Diver Down because of Enemizer, and they continue. This glitch is relatively simple to do normally, except actually that one particularly has a fire snake, but you can still time it. But Enemizer can put some much worse enemies in there.
Yeah, fire snakes at least have the good grace to go off screen and then just kind of stay there for a while and give you some time to work.
Ovidius going further into Misery Mire. Still hasn't found anything. Unknown taking a death on left side swamp. That's unfortunate. Ice Rod on Ovidius' side, Mire.
And Fire Rod for Deryk, almost simultaneously.
I can only imagine what their team chat is. I'm assuming they're both going, I found a rod! That puts us as viewers into no mode. Unfortunately, Link finds a way, still doesn't know where their bow is. For anyone that's joining us that wasn't here earlier, that bow is in Thieves Town, and both runners on Link Finds a Way have checked the front of Thieves already, so it is in the back of a pendant dungeon. We'll see how long it takes them to go back in. I figure they're going to go through and clear the rest of the crystal dungeons first. Fortunately, that Deryk taking a death also on left side swamp before the second diver down.
And here comes the Fire Rod on Beard Force 1's side. We know Dark Shadows will not go very far into Turtle Rock. This is a detour that Link Finds a Way also found. Or also took, I guess.
Yeah, so with Beard Force 1 having found the Fire Rod, at this point, the question is, will Beard Force 1 check Mire, or will Link Finds a Way check Thieves Town? The first team to check that location will put their team into no mode. I think no one on Beard Force 1 has checked the Mire area at all. So there are quite a few checks over there with Mire Cave, Checkerboard Cave, and the crystal itself is Mire.
Yeah, Dark just found their flute for the first time over there, so gotta expect the Mire trip will be fairly soon after activating that.
Yeah, sure. We'll see how they decide to route it. Oh, it is checking. I think his team already checked it earlier. Maybe not. It's a long time to leave that check, but it's nothing for them today. blue bottle on Unknown side. Bottles are always nice. Blue is great. I think it would be even more helpful if they had a Bombos, but even then, Ether can still help in a lot of cases. We find a Cold Stare on Deryk's side.
Yeah, we'll be very happy to have that blue potion to recharge those Fire Rod shots.
Yeah, with the Fire Rod, it will take your entire magic bar to get rid of that big ice block. Looks like Deryk's going to just try going sword route, but he got hit by a little bit of falling ice, so he lost the quick kill positioning. Still should be fine with a tempered sword. Kind of wonder where that fourth sword is and if we'll see it. Unknown going into the fight right as Deryk finishes it. Deryk picking up his third crystal. Both runners on. Link finds a way with 3 crystals. Unknown actually on his first crystal fight. Also takes a hit. Unknown taking a death. Got hugged by Cold Stare. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, and on that green mail still, definitely that can drain your health really quickly.
Gonna have to go all the way back, and I think he did use a potion, so that's gonna put him behind too. Hopefully he has another one. That's a big time loss and just a big item loss in general. Meanwhile, Ovidius is giving us a pyramid fairy check.
Yeah, they are still just looking for that bow, and that's all.
We know it's not in here. Well, actually, the second one could be in here. We do not know where the second bow is. Nothing in there. Pyramid Fairy giving him back a B. That is definitely not what he wanted in that bottle. Deryk just checked the mushroom, I think, but it looks to be nothing. Deryk going into Ice Palace. It is a crystal. He can finish it. Not going into Ice Palace?
Ooh, might be opting for some potions first.
Going into Mire.
I think he was thinking about just grabbing his hook shot out of pod, but maybe thought better of it. And it's just going to go ahead and finish up a crystal while he can.
Well,
maybe hoping that his partner finds a bow along the way, but Ovidius is headed into pod.
No, Deryk was at Ice Palace. I think he came over here because he knows the Ice Rod is in here, and he's hedging against accidentally fighting a Trinix at the end of Ice Palace. If he finds a Trinix at the end of Ice Palace, that could be a lot of time lost from having to do it again, whereas he already knows where the Ice Rod is.
Right, okay, that makes sense.
There's a low chance of it being a Trinix, because we've already found one. I don't know if his team's found it, but there is a possibility that there is a Trinix.
Oh, Unknown taking another death on this Cold Stare fight in Swamp Palace.
Oh, that's gonna really hurt them.
Yeah, and they're gonna opt out of it. I think that's the right call, rather than just banging your head against that forever and ever. Go get something else done, and maybe, come back once you found some armor or some more health, something along those lines.
Yeah, Unfortunately, getting to the entrance of Swamp Palace won't be too big of a time loss when he has to come back. But shall see. Where does he go? It looks like he's debating where he needs to go. I don't know if he's talking. Maybe he's talking to his teammate, talking about where he should go next.
I mean, certainly going up Death Mountain and grabbing those boots and the flute would not be a bad idea.
Yeah. The boots just give a little bit of a time save everywhere. To answer a question in chat, unfortunately, Unknown used the blue potion the first time he was in the boss fight, and he used it.
Well, he used a potion. I thought maybe it was a green instead of a blue. I'm not sure. But...
Yes?
I was going to say, also, that blue potion, I think we found maybe in Hookshot Cave or somewhere up here on the mountain.
No, he found the blue potion in Swamp Palace.
Oh, that's right. It was in Flooded Room. Yeah, that's right.
Correct. Oh, looks like he might have just used the green one, but I guess he just wasn't expecting it. Cold Stare Hugs hurt a lot on Green Veil. It's a lot more than you think it should be when you're playing, or you expect it to be. So he might have thought he was safe, and he wasn't. I think it's 3 hugs should basically kill any of these runners. That's not a lot of the way. Looks like Deryk will be heading to the back of Misery Mire to his fight. He'll be grabbing his 4th crystal, assuming fight.
Yeah, and with that Ice Rod pickup, we'll be able to kill any boss that he comes across from this point on.
Still going to be coming down to which team. For anyone joining us, we are 1 item away for each team being in no mode. Beard Force 1 is looking for a flute that is in Mire. And Link Up finds a way is looking for a bow. 1 bow is in Thieves Town, and the other bow we have not yet found. That is a really pleasant room on Ovidius' side. I didn't see it before, but there's a lot of enemies in there, and those were all relatively easy.
Yeah, kind of like that Mire 2, just pure enemy spam, but none of them were too bad to kill.
Deryk, I thought he was done his Landmo fight, but he didn't quite do it. That should finish the last one. Finishing up his Landmo, finishing up the 4th dungeon. See, the thing is, I think Beard Force 1 is more likely to find that Ice Rod before Link Finds a Way finds their bow. But on the other hand, Link Finds a Way is at least 3 dungeons ahead on average.
Yeah, that's the big advantage for Beard Force 1, is that the item that they need is just in a crystal dungeon that they're going to get to pretty soon. Whereas Link Finds a Way is going to have to start dipping pendants from the looks of things, since that second bow has just not appeared anywhere yet.
I'm wondering if it's in GT. When we get this many checks and this many dungeons checked, it makes me think that it's in GT. Yeah,
it's definitely starting to feel like the bow in Thieves Town is going to be hard required to finish this seed.
Bow is in the back of Thieves Town, to answer a question from chat. So the problem also is that Link Finds a Way. Both runners have checked the front of Thieves Town. So they're less likely to go in there because they've already done a number of checks. We know that Beard Force 1 will be going into Mire at some point because they're going to believe the dungeon is completable. Unless they find a Trinex. and it is a crystal, so they will eventually get to clearing it.
And this is where we can see that Link Finds a Way is definitely opting for finishing things they know they're going to complete. They're not too afraid of overlapping each other since they're both sort of revisiting areas. As long as they're clearing crystals, they're just not too keen to jump into a pendant dungeon unless they are absolutely sure that they're going to have to. So I think they're just wrapping up crystals. They're hoping they'll find that bow in Ice Palace once they get there. But we will see how this works out for them.
I think that's the right play from a purely logical perspective, not knowing where any of the items are. Complete the crystal dungeons that you can, that as long as you're still getting new checks, and then see where things go from there. Now, if they no longer have any checks to do that they haven't checked yet, maybe one runner goes out and does pendants while the other is doing crystals. But we'll see what they decide.
Well, it's feeling like Deryk has nothing to do at this point besides Ice Palace or Pendant Dungeons. And this Ice Palace trip is going to be relatively quick with Red Cane and Icebreaker.
Icebreaker makes this dungeon much more pleasant than the vanilla way. There is the bomb jump that also makes it a little more pleasant, but Icebreaker is a little easier to do and less finicky to complete. It also is a little bit faster.
Yeah, especially in Enemizer, because there are various enemies that can actually mess with the Ice Palace bomb jump for weird technical reasons.
We have some pretty nice sync on the top two runners. Deryk and Dark Shadow, both in Ice Palace. Neither one is likely to find what they need, but there is a possibility that Link Finds a Way does find the second bow in here. This room a little harder than when it has Pengators. Pengators are very predictable and just pretty fast to kill them through.
But Unknown is headed toward the Mire area, and if he heads in there and finds that Ice Rod, that will put Beard Force 1 in go mode.
Yeah, I can't see him doing anything other than walking into Mire. Maybe checks checkerboard first, but he's got to be walking into Mire next, right? He does go check checkerboard. You know, if the Ice Rod's in here and he finds it before going into Mire and finds a Trinex, he'll be really happy that he finds it. Dark Shadow getting his Icebreaker off. Finding the big key. So now here's the question. Does Beard Force 1 start go-moding when they find this Ice Rod? Or are they going to look for the Silver Stone?
I would say most of the time when you hit go mode, you're in go mode. I mean, the fact that they have Tempered Sword already means there's not a huge value for silvers. It would still definitely speed up the Ganon fight, but they're not going to be worried about it in the same way that you would be if you're staring at a Master Sword silverless.
Yeah, I agree. If they're comfortable with the silverless Ganon fight, then probably pick up the chests along the way, something that won't take a lot of time. But I'm sure they won't go out of the way for it. We actually did have, before the stream, at least one of these runners was practicing his silverless Ganon. That may have been a good decision. On the other hand, if it's on the climb, they may find that bow. Or if we find it before we get the big key. Unknown taking a little bit of a tour to do Desert before doing Mire. That's going to be unfortunate for his team, but it is a fast dungeon. He is there, figuring he'll just do it while he's in the area. Makes a lot of sense. He paused on the stairs there for a second. I was really hoping he wasn't planning on switching to flute.
DarkShadows showing us a slightly non-standard Ice Armos fight there.
Oh, I totally missed that, but we'll see what Deryk does.
Oh, just
Deryk
that they've moved to Ice Palace instead of Ganon's Tower.
Oh, yeah. Deryk showing us Cane of Burna strats. This is actually a very cool strat if you haven't seen it before. It's actually a very quick fight.
Yeah, it feels like a meme strat, but it goes pretty darn fast.
Yeah, the first time I heard about it, I'm going, oh, is this doing something like doing Boomerang? Because Boomerang actually hurts Armos, and I'm going, oh, this is going to be one of those strats that takes forever. And then I tried it. No, it's not that much slower than normal bow. So Dark Shadow does make it into Mire. That's actually really interesting, because Unknown is in Desert, and he has a portal to the Dark World, so if Dark Shadow finds this rod before Unknown gets out of the way, or if Unknown just comes in here after anyways, because it's a crystal, they will both be individually income.
Yeah, and meanwhile it looks like Link finds a way, have exhausted all of the crystal dungeons, and they've just decided to divvy up the pendants.
No, Ovidius, wrong direction. Down. Not up. I think he's gonna go check Bumper Ledge. But
And I believe they haven't seen Graveyard Ledge yet either, because they're both sitting on green mail still.
this kind of makes sense. They're overworld checks. Get them out of the way. Make sure it's not something easy that you can quickly find. Unknownavailability finishing up his desert fight, picking up his second crystal. Fortunately, both runners on Link Finds a Way have 5 crystals. That does put them in a crystal lead. I think it's just a little bit of routing and execution have just gotten them there. It's not really that loss of rods, or that advantage of having both rods that really put them in lead. But when will they check Deeps down or find the other bow?
Yeah, that's a definite clock on the game that Beard Force 1 only has so much time to get finished, since Link Finds a Way is checking those pendant dungeons now. Meanwhile, Dark Shadows headed straight down to the boss after finding that big key, hoping the Ice Rod will be down there. We'll see if Unknownavailability decides to check some more chests along the way.
I think that,
since the Ice Rod is up here.
I think that's the strat, though. They have one person that's in the dungeon. He's got the big key. He's ahead. May as well just, they're saying, you know what, you finish while the second runner goes behind him and checks the chest to see if it's worth it. It's definitely a good strat, so that they're not both doing all of the checks. That wouldn't make sense. Just in terms of the difference here, too, the Link Finds a Way did get that Moon Pearl earlier because they did that Zora check earlier. So that did give them access to a lot more, a little bit faster. Half magic on Deryk's side. Very nice in Enemizer. Allows for twice the amount of medallion use. Dark Shadow getting his land fight out of the way, while Ovidius flutes somewhere. Flutes to 3, where he needs to be. Yep. So, to anybody joining us, if this is your first game of the week, they all are playing the same seed, and the 2 runners on each side of the screen are sharing information. They're talking to each other, telling each other what they found and where the items are. The winning team will be the team with the lowest average score between the two. Ovidius going Skullwood side. Pick the pendants. Wrong pendant.
And I don't know about this choice from Dark Shadows. He is... I guess it's not too bad. He's going to go ahead and do Pyramid Fairy right now. His other option would have been to just go ahead and do Desert Palace while Unknown was busy clearing out the front of Mire. But so they're again opting for more variety in their checks as opposed to just clearing out crystals when they can, which is the way that Link Finds a Way have tended a little bit more.
Yeah, in general, I agree with that strategy, but I think in this case, with how close, how fast the dungeon desert is, they also know where the big key, and they know that there's nothing good in there. He could have popped in, grabbed the big key, gone to the boss very quickly. I think he's going to waste more time going all the way back than he would have just to complete it right then. There. I think this chest right here where Unknown is going is the ice rod. Deryk just continuing his Turtle Rock checks. He's going to get through pretty much this entire dungeon, it looks like. He's going to find out it's not in there. Well, you know, he could still find the bow. We are still looking for that second bow.
I mean, there's always a bow in Turtle Rock, right?
I thought there's always a rod on Laser Bridge. I don't know why the game seems to love that.
Meanwhile, there's the Butter Sword in that Skull Woods big chest that I think Dark Shadows did not do before.
Yeah, he left. He was right next to it. I thought he left because he... I wonder if he miscounted.
Certainly always possible. And I don't want to speak for the runners, but I know when I started playing again, practicing for this week, you know, I've done so many key sanities and mysteries and various crazy things for the past few weeks that, you know, I sort of forgot how regular dungeons work. I wasn't counting items, so it's really easy to lose track of that when you're a little bit rusty on it or used to another mode, maybe.
Dark Shadow is just in that room again. He still didn't check the big chest.
This time it makes sense, since Unknown did find that ice rod, that now they know exactly where their go mode is.
You know what? He probably went back in there to check the big chest, and Unknown found it. Okay, so with that find at just under 17 minutes, Beard Force 1 as a team are in go mode. Link finds a way, one item away. There is a bow in the back of Thieves Town. Both runners have cleared the front, and the second bow is your guess is as good as ours. Yes, 1 hour, 17 minutes. What did I say? Did I say something else?
If you did, I didn't notice, so...
Oh! Yeah, okay, well. Deryk going in and going to be finishing this dungeon. He can defeat any boss, so he's going to defeat the boss. He's going to get the pendant. The thing is, Deryk only has one dungeon to complete once he finds that bow. And he's going to be go-moding straight to the back. So it's not going to take him a very long time. Throughout this game, our trackers have not only been keeping a great handle on what items all our runners have, but they've been constantly in chat helping us out. So please do give our runners some support as well, or our trackers. Our trackers are Akir, and Yoinker's wife today. Unknownavailability is getting to his boss, while DarkShadows fighting Moldorm, and Deryk finishes the boss, and Ovidius has just finished a boss. That's a lot of bosses. Wait, Ovidius was in Thieves Town.
Yeah, so he beat the boss, and I think he's going to go turn in the green pendant. He can flute right back to that portal if he wants to.
No. I guess, yeah, okay, as long as he flutes back immediately. I feel like it's still, you're there, just finish the back. I mean, Deryk is in the area, are they thinking of him doing it? Anyways, Unknown finishes his boss fight, so all 4 bosses are down. See where things go. Okay, Ovidius is back. Deryk is back too. They're in the same dungeon.
Yeah, so this seems like they have literally nothing else to do, so they know it has to be back here in the back of Thieves Town somewhere.
Yeah, I think they've both gotten the items. I think they've gotten the items out of Skull Woods. They know it's not there. Deryk has completed Turtle Rock. They know it's not there. As far as I know, they've covered all of the overworld locations. They know it's in here. They're hunting for it.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing now, since Link Finds a Way does have this bow knowledge, that they're going to have a pretty strong lead, because certainly Dark Shadows will get back to Pod, and probably will make it up to Ganon's Tower, a couple of minutes ahead of either of those two, but Unknown has several dungeons to clean up here. Is sitting at just 3 crystals, so I think I still have to give the edge to Link Finds a Way at this point.
Yes, I agree. I think they do have a lead now that we know that they know where that bow is. This is a good time, I think, to remind our viewers who may be joining us for the first game of the league this week that each team's score is the average time between the 2 runners. And to me, it looks like Ovidius and Deryk are going to be basically the same time. Assuming no errors on GT or the climb. It'll be interesting actually to watch how Link Finds a Way decides to route, because they'll have 2 runners looking for big key simultaneously.
Although I think Ovidius will probably get to GT a little bit later. He's still got Ice Palace to finish off.
So he does. You're right. So Deryk will be our hunter for the big key today. Most likely. Oh, actually, yeah. Or actually, Dark Shadow will likely be. But Deryk will be hunting for Link Finds a Way. What do you think is going through Link Finds a Way through their heads right now? I think they've basically last location that bow in their minds. So, as a runner, how does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's rough. So at this point, this is where I would probably just try and convince myself that my opponents also didn't do Thieves Town right away, so as to not get too discouraged. Yeah, it looks like Unknownavailability is having some issues there. I think he did not grab the key from the right side of Ice Palace, and then cannot get out of the right side, but maybe he's piecing that together right now. Yes, headed back to grab that key from under the giant rock back here.
Oops. He knew he was in go mode, so he just go moded. It is important to remember that even if you're in go mode, you still need keys. The thing in Ice Palace is that you don't even need the big key, so you're not thinking about checking chests for the big key, but you do have to remember that you actually need a few small keys. Dark Shadow on his Trinex fight. So now here's a question. Are there some... I don't think we've seen a Helmasaur. Or a Blind?
I believe that's correct.
I think we've seen all the other bosses, right? Just the Helmasaur and a Blind that are missing?
Yeah, and we've seen 2 Arguses.
I didn't actually see what the boss was in Turtle Rock. I looked away at that one moment as Deryk got there.
I think it was actually a second Landmo? Not 100% sure. Oh no, it was a Vitreous in Turtle Rock.
Second Vidi. Okay.
So yeah, we've not seen the Skull Woods boss.
I think that does mean that there's a good chance that out of the 3 bosses, there is a Blind or a... What was the other one I said? Blind or...
Helmasaur.
Helmasaur. Oh!
And
so, how about that? How about Helmasaur right up at the top of GT?
yeah, that Helmasaur on Moldorm 2 is rough.
And Ice Blind.
Speaking of rough, another death for Unknownavailability there in the room just before the Cold Stare drop down.
It's unfortunate. He's having a little bit of issues with Cold Stare and the rooms around him today. It's Dark Shadow getting blocked by a Dead Rock, while Deryk is on his Trinex fight. Okay, Deryk finishing off the second head, while Ovidius is fighting his Armos fight. Using bows instead of the cane. Oh, not realizing. This is going to be very quick. Get your guesses in chat to the big key in Ganon's Tower. Oh, there was one earlier. Okay, it was started by somebody else. Perfect. I wasn't watching chat for a little bit. Thank you, Drossi, for starting that. We did have a quick game. If you didn't get your counter in, feel free to guess now. You just don't get the internet points that come along with it, but you can still say that you did it. There are 22 chests in GT. One of them will have the big key. We're going to see which chest it is. Okay, so 1 is an arrow. 2 is a key.
Yeah, Unknown drained all of their magic there to do a quick fake powder on that bunny beam under the rock.
3 is the key. So we got the keys we need. Or the small keys. Looks like Deryk is on his way up as well, who will be joining. For the purposes of the guessing game, we will be following Deryk. 4 is rupees, 5 is powder. 6 is bombs, 7 is the small key. Not finding it yet. So what do you normally guess for this? What's your guess?
I'm usually somewhere in the 8 range, which is normally right here on the usual routes.
Yeah, it's funny. I normally say 8 as well, but not today. That's 8. 8 is a piece of heart. So Ovidius is on his way to the boss in Pod, so he'll be joining us in GT soon. 9 is bombs for Dark Shadow. Looking for the big key. Ovidius will be joining us in GT soon. Unfortunately, Unknown still has a few dungeons to complete. A few unfortunate deaths in timing, and he did some more overworld checks, so he's a little bit behind the other 3 runners. Crystals. 10 is arrows. 11 is bombs. Unknown finishing the boss. 12 is arrows. 13 is bombos. So they have the eliminate all enemies button. That, you know, I feel like that'll be really nice for the climb.
Yeah, they definitely have some options there for those medallions. Dark Shadow's taking an interesting route there, went to Rando Room and then mirrored back out. Is going to check the right-hand side and then go to the Ice Armor's location from there if he needs to. This might be an Enemizer-specific strat of wanting to not have to do this extra random boss fight if you don't have to.
I mean, depending on what that boss is, that could be really unfortunate. So it's a good decision if you're not comfortable with all of the ice bosses. And even if you are comfortable, that can be a rough fight. We are at 13 checks already. While Deryk is joining us in GT, we will be counting based on Dark Shadows checks. 14 is a heart. 15 is... there's the silver bow. 16 is... book. 17. So we do have silvers. So that check, once again, a bow in a pendant dungeon is the required bow.
And Deryk unfortunately missed that first torch there in this torch room puzzle, so he's probably going to have to wait for things to reset a little bit.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That room can take quite a while. So with 17 checks, we have 3 checks behind the boss, and then we have 1 check on Bob's chest and the tile room. Oh, look at that chain chomp. Bob is a chain chomp today. That is 18. Corvain is the winner of the GT Big Key guessing game. I think he's from one of these teams. Congratulations on guessing the right number.
I mean, Ganon did his best to guard that big key. You have to admit, putting the chain chomp right there. But
oh yeah, that was a great place for a chain chomp. I feel like this room is easier that Dark Shadows in than it was originally.
Yeah, that's the thing. You get to this point in an Enemizer seed, and on average, the gauntlet's going to get easier.
Why is there still a spike in this room? There's a lot of enemies. We had a full normal chicken hut. There's still spikes in this room. Deryk looks like he's going to go the full left side, which will take him to the big key as well.
Yes, he went full right to begin with, since he's sitting on those silvers, so
he's going to clear almost the entire G. I'm assuming he left tile room alone. Probably going to be... what is 4 less? That'll be check 8. Oh, it'll be the same check number. It'll still be 18. So unknown availability on his way to the pod boss. So as a reminder, with all of these runners, 3 runners in GT, each team is scored on the average time between the 2 runners. So while Dark Shadow is slightly ahead, we do have Deryk and Ovidius really close to each other, both in GT. Unknown getting the first 2 heads done pretty quickly, moving on to phase 2. Deryk on his way to Bob's chest. Well, the Chain Chomp's chest today. To answer a question in chat whether right has a chance to win, it's mostly dependent on, I think, Link finds a way's execution. As long as they don't make any mistakes along the way, I do believe the game is theirs to win or lose. It doesn't mean we don't see a Ganon, any issues with Ganon, but they do also have a lot of hearts, and well, one of them's still on green.
I do want to shout out some really smart routing on Link Finds a Way's side. Deryk had gotten far enough in the dungeon that he knew that the big key was going to be on probably Ice Armos or somewhere in that area, and so Ovidius went ahead and went right to be able to grab the silvers, and then we'll just head straight to Bob's chest from there. So convenient to a good thinking to know that those arrows were going to be silver arrows were going to be convenient along the way, and wasn't going to slow him down in actually getting to the big key very much.
That's great teamwork and communication on their part. That's one of the big things that makes these co-op races different. It's about how well you work with your teammate and how well you grow with some knowledge. Unknown getting through his Eastern, picking up the big key. He still does need to complete this, and he needs to complete Swamp. DarkShadow lighting the torches with his lamp. Serving magic, wondering what this boss is up here. I don't know if he has a potion.
Yeah, I think odds are pretty good it's going to be a Helma, and this Helma on Moldorm 2 is a annoying boss.
Oh, for sure. There is a potential for Helma to have been the boss of Skull Woods, and this could be one of our duplicates. It's about 50-50 here. It is Helma. So for anyone that hasn't done this fight, you can see that, well, can't see it yet, but if Helmasaur charges, you're going to see Helma go almost right to the edge. You have to be very careful, or you get knocked off like DarkShadow.
Yeah, Dark's sitting on 8 or 9 bombs there, and he is switching to those. I think that's a good choice. You just stay in this big open area on the right side and try and just throw bombs to that mask off.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Here, and if you get him in Tower of Hera, same thing. It can be easier sometimes to use bombs than to try to deal with hammer strats. Deryk doing his Cold Stare fight up in a very dark room. Oh, Deryk takes a hit! Does he have a fairy? He does not. He's going to have to restart the climb. So, there's that question. There was a question in chat about, does Beard Force 1 have a chance? If things like that happen to Link Finds a Way, there is a chance until they finish.
And that's the thing about Enemizers, you are always put in an uncomfortable position, right? Like you're fighting enemies that are in the wrong room, just nothing is quite where you expect it to be, and that can really throw you off, especially when you're trying to go fast and working on really low percent. I mean, Deryk did not have time to go grab that blue mail out of Graveyard Ledge, so...
And as we previously discussed, you wonder if Link Finds a Way feels behind. They effectively, in their mind, I think, last location that bow. And they know it was the only bow. But if there's a possibility that Beard Force 1 checked it a lot earlier, and they did. But in their minds, they could be super behind because of that. DarkShadow finishing his Aga 2 fight. Cleanly. Nice last hit there. Bouncing all 3 back. I don't think all 3 counted because I think he didn't need that many. But it is always nice to see a good bounce back like that. So we're at 1 hour and 38 minutes. And DarkShadow is going into the Ganon. Tempered, silvers, 13 hearts, blue mail. That's a pretty comfortable Ganon fight, I think, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, can't really complain about that.
So it'll be 12 swings the sword here. Or 6 spins. That's that. He's already on phase 2. Unknown finishing his crystal at Eastern. Ovidius fighting his cold stare fight now. He has blue mail, so he's got a little bit more effective health to fight the cold stare.
Yeah, also got that butter sword, so Puff sort of got away from the initial spin that you want to do, but butter sword helped clean that up pretty well.
Unknown heading towards his last dungeon, so we'll see him go into GT relatively soon, as he will be go-moding. Swamp. Unknown having a little bit of trouble with a hammer dash. Oh, I didn't see how many teleports we got on Ganon, but it looks a little friendly because I looked away and DarkShadow's done phase 3. So we'll see if he gets the torch glitch. He needs to light the left torch before the right goes out. He gets it. So the benefit of that glitch, the right torch will now never go out. Dark getting a double. Deryk is on his cold stare fight, and DarkShadow takes down Ganon. So as he's about to cross these stairs, as soon as he walks through that door, get your GGs in chat for Deryk, or DarkShadow. So get your GGs for DarkShadow. He finishes with a race time.gg time of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 9 seconds. This is as Deryk and Ovidius are both up on the climb, and Unknown is finishing his last crystal. Oh, Ovidius running out of magic. He can't light the last torch.
Oh, that's rough. Oh man, I don't know if he has any potions.
I think there is enough. Oh, he missed it.
No! Okay, he's got a
potion. We're okay. We're okay. That would have been unfortunate. Deryk having taken that death. If Ovidius ran out of magic, that would have been some big time losses for their team. You know, a lot of the time I wish that there was a bigger magic refill in that room. Deryk now in that room that Ovidius just completed, but Deryk does have half magic, so he should have a lot less problems with this.
Yeah, the devs were pretty nice in putting things like bombs in rooms where you need them and magic in rooms where you need them, but they kind of take the gloves off when it comes to GT. They help a little bit, but not too much.
There is a small magic, so it is possible with that lamp, but you have to get it perfect. You cannot miss. Okay, Ovidius on his Helma.
And if I'm on Link Finds a Way at this point, I'm more worried about this Helma fight than the Ganon fight. Oh, just like that.
We mentioned earlier, Dark fell, Ovidius fell. Helma in this dungeon is not friendly. That is definitely one of my least favorite, if not maybe my least favorite boss to see in here.
And Ovidius is sticking with the hammer strats.
He's comfortable with them. Unknown taking down the boss in Swamp. He will be heading right up to GT now, while we're watching synchronous Helmasaur fights.
Yeah, Unknown getting his revenge on that particular cold stare. Ovidius scaring me with those sword slashes to finish off the Helmasaur. I would have switched to the silver arrows. Deryk also taking a fall on that fight.
So Unknown on his way up GT. Deryk finishing it off with a silver arrow, as he does, while Ovidius fights Aga 2. As we said, it does come down to the average time. question is, can Unknown get into GT, grab that big key, get all the way to the top and finish Ganon in time? Yep, and just answer the question in chat. It is average time. The average time between both players on the team.
Yeah, so once Deryk and Ovidius finish here, we'll sort of see what sort of clock there is on Unknown.
Ovidius already on the Ganon fight. With his buttered, he's only going to need 6 slashes, so you're going to see phase 1 go very fast and phase 2 go very fast. So he should be done phase 2. Getting some extra hits in just in case. Deryk finishing up, I think, his Aga? Yep. Wow, single teleport for Ganon here. I'm actually watching it the second time. 3 teleports. That's wow, 4. Ganon was super friendly. All of the players will have the same teleports. Ovidius not getting the torch glitch. Unknown is in GT. He is heading straight for that right side. Also doing the silvers into Big Key route.
Yeah, torch glitch is not nearly as much of a concern when you have those silver arrows.
Definitely not, but every second helps. Deryk took a death. Okay, took a death on Ganon. He had finished Aga. I wonder if he just took the death to refill his health. Get your GGs in chat for Ovidius. He is finished with a race time.gg time of 1 hour, 45 minutes, and 48 seconds. Get your GGs in chat. When Deryk finishes, we will have an estimated completion time that Unknown will need.
Yeah, essentially what you can say, though, is so DarkShadows beat OvidiusNaso by 5 minutes and 37 seconds. So Deryk has to beat Unknown by more time than that for Link finds a way to win this race.
5 minutes for the entire climb is not a lot.
Yeah, especially since he's still got to do some of the basement here to get that big key.
Deryk getting his first hit in. Will he get the torch glitch? He will. Gets that few extra seconds. You're in a race against the clock like this, those few seconds can make you a little bit more comfortable. Narrowly dodging that bat. And down goes Ganon for the 3rd time. Deryk holding up the sword. Get your GGs in chat for Deryk. Deryk crossing the threshold with a race time, GG chat time of 1 hour, 47 minutes, and 18 seconds. With those times completed, we know that Unknown has to finish before 1 hour, 53 minutes, and 42 seconds. 1:53:42. He has 6 minutes.
Yeah, that is a pretty tall ask to do that entire climb, especially with longer boss fights than usual. We've got that cold stare on the way, and of course that Helmasaur on Moldorm 2 that has been giving our runners so much trouble.
Unknown very, very smart there. Goes to the left side, goes to the torch, grabs a key. You do need 1 key for the climb, and it is something very easy to forget. It looks like we will have some runners joining us for an interview, but that will be waiting until the final completion of the race. It is something to remember that unknown availability is still on green mail. So he's got 12 hearts of green mail, and he's on tempered. It's one of those times you think about a few of those boss deaths and a few other issues they had along the way that could make the difference. That cold stare fight.
Yeah, and as much as Rando has a tendency to put you in weird situations that you're not used to, Enemizer just sort of cranks that up to 11. So, definitely an interesting thing, particularly if you don't run a lot of Enemizer, to get used to all of the madness that it throws at you.
Oh, for sure, especially the bosses. That's something I think that a lot of runners don't necessarily play with boss shuffle on its own. They're not used to having bosses of different groups. You know, from the bosses we've seen, I think Blind had to be in Skull Woods.
Yeah, because we have not seen a blind anywhere. Well, we didn't actually drop into the Ice Armos fight at any point, right? So.
Oh, that's true. That could have been Ice Blind. You know, that's what I was saying when we were going in here about potentially Helma at the top and Blind on Ice, but. A reminder that we said that Deryk or Unknown needed to finish in 1:53:42. He needs to complete the entire game in the next 3 minutes. Unfortunately, I'm not sure that's possible. He is going into his Cold Stare fight. He's probably going to be very happy to see this after his experience with Cold Stare today. Having a little bit of issues getting Cold Stare melted there. Taking a hit too, losing the quick fight. Having a little bit of issues. That little shooter in the corner causing some problems. He's at 1 health and he takes it.
Cold Stare has just been Unknown's nemesis today.
Yeah, Unknown just having issues with Cold Stare. We can confirm that Unknown has forfeited. So, with us in the booth, we have Dark Shadow. But get your GGs in chat for Unknown as well, please. Welcome, Dark Shadow.
Okay, thanks.
So yeah, first question I guess is about that bow in Thieves Town. That was a really big advantage for you guys for a lot of this race. So sort of what went into that decision to do the back thieves right away?
Well, I'd found 2 items in the front, and Unknown, I believe at that point, was checking most of our other locations. So at that point, it just felt right to go ahead and go through since there were still 2 outstanding items. And luckily, that was the only bow available pre-GT.
Yeah, Linka finds a way. They effectively last location that bow. They checked absolutely everything else before they got there. But your team was looking for that flute for a while, and they had it a lot earlier.
Yeah, we were a bit delayed going up the mountain. I think I'd noticed that was a possibility earlier with that mirror, And then,
Sorry, I did say flute. I did mean the rod that was in Missouri Meyer. It was the Meyer check they did earlier.
that was could have had that a lot earlier, but we didn't. So yeah.
Welcome to the booth, Ovidius. G.
Ooh, looks like Ovidius might be having some audio trouble. I see them lit up in Discord, but not hearing anything at the moment.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get that settled. Dark, do you have any general comments that you want to say about the seed?
It sounds like we were both last location. It's just, I guess our last locations might have been a bit faster, but there's a bit of difference between us. I would say if you're running this individually, I think this will be a pain to find everything.
Yeah, it definitely seemed that way. There was a few small things that made a difference. I believe the other team found the Moon Pearl earlier because they went to Zora, so they got into Dark World a little bit faster. And the other thing was that your teammate Unknown did take a few deaths to Gold Stair early on. I want to say Swamp, which did delay him a little bit.
Yeah, he was getting a bit frustrated, and then at the end he says he was having problems with his wrists, so that's will ultimately cause the forfeit. So hopefully, help him get that on the ice and reduce the pain on.
Oh, yes. Welcome to the booth of Ovidius. So
I imagine
we had asked Dark Shadow about his thoughts on the race. Do you want to say anything about the seed before we say anything?
Yeah, so I mean, after seeing the finish times and everything, I mean, we did not feel good about the bow when we got it. Unfortunately, we felt okay about skipping that location, but not great, and found it super late. But I'm gonna guess they found Ice Rod and got into Mire a little bit later, maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was the big difference. They also got to Zora later than your team did, so your team got earlier Dark World access, which just helped your routing a little bit.
Last location.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, we were last location too for the bow.
I did have a question noted here. Dark Shadow, you didn't check the Skullwood's big chest while you were there. Was there any reason for that?
I forgot I found the big key, and that actually did weigh on my mind for a bit. I'm sure he knows after I cleared the Godmire, and Unknown was checking it because we were still looking for the ice rod. That's when I was going to go check that big chest, and then Turtle Rock would have been the next play. But before I could open the big chest, Unknown had found the ice rod, so it's like, okay, let's go back.
So you know, it was a sword.
Oh, okay.
It was the fourth sword. The other team did find that a little bit. One player did finish with butter on their side.
Well, with where the swords were, I don't think it was a huge impact, and Unknown probably would have skipped it anyway, considering there was nothing in Skullwoods other than that sword.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite part of this mode is telling your teammate, like, guess what you're not getting.
That's a way to put it. So any other... Yes, Dark?
So Ganon's Tower, I did something a little interesting. I checked the 2 chests on right side, and then I went left side. When I had found all of the keys, except for the one that was up in Mini Helma, but when I found all of the keys on left side, I kept thinking, the key is going to be on the right side. So I just went to Rando Room, and then once I hit Rando Room, it wasn't there. It's like, okay, everything else I can check by going right side. The key's got to be right side. I found all of the big keys on the right side. It's got to be there because I found all the small keys. And I mean, I found the silvers.
We were discussing that's a pretty decent play if you are not so sure about your ice boss fight, right? Because then you can check the compass room before having to do whatever god-awful fight is in Ice Armos' spot. So it's a pretty reasonable strat in Enemizer.
Yeah, there were still a few possible nasty doubles that could have been there, or a couple bosses that we hadn't seen a blind. Ice blind would not have been fun.
Yeah, we as viewers did not see a blind at all. So blind was either in Skull Woods or it was on ice. Those were the only two options.
What about Turtle Rock?
The other Deryk did clear Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and that was a Vitreous.
Kono pointing out, it could have been 2 blinds. It could have been a blind in both places, I think.
I think I did run into a blind because I think we cleared all the crystals, but I might be wrong.
We were discussing that we didn't think we saw one. So
Yeah, I don't think anybody finished Skull Woods at any point, so...
I definitely finished Skull Woods, so... Because I did the boss, and then brought the green pennant. Oh, Skull Woods, sorry, no. No, you guys are right.
Yeah. It's good. Did we miss something on the tracker? But no, okay.
No, you're right.
But yeah, the GT routing was also good on the Link Finds a Way side because you going right through there and picking up the silvers along the way was really, really clean routing once you knew where that big key was.
Yeah, that was... We had a couple fun timing moments like that. We were actually both in Thieves Town at the same time, and Deryk was going upstairs while I was going downstairs. And then, in GT, I was like, okay, you finished Random Room? And he goes, yeah. And I go, okay, well, I guess I'm going right side, no matter what.
Yeah, it was interesting. After that, I think both teams had the second player getting to go right side to the key to pick up both silvers and the big key. Cool Papa was commenting on how that was a very good strat for Linka Finds a Way when they went in, and then Beard Force, you went in, did the exact same thing. So does anybody have any final thoughts or comments?
Helma at Moldorm 2 can still be a pain.
Oh, yes. Both teams had somebody fall to that.
Okay, I don't feel so bad.
Yeah, I think all 3 of us fell, right? So
I was saying that was probably my least favorite boss to see up there.
I'm also kind of sad we didn't get to see Helmacopter.
Yes. We did have that last night in the seed that was last night. One of the commentators had never seen it before, so that made for an interesting experience.
yeah, the two times Corey and I just practiced, so maybe you'll see one tomorrow. But we had Helmacopter both times, so we're due for it again.
Yeah. Yes, I see. Your teams are both playing tomorrow. Again. So
Yep, same time.
good luck. You can see it up on the stream right now. We do have the schedule up. There are a lot of games that are still coming up over the next few days. The exact streams and which games will be streamed and on which channels hasn't quite been decided yet. So check in on the schedule again over the next while, but a good way to make sure you don't miss it, make sure you follow ALTTPR League and the ALTTPR League 2-4. And then the Invitational is streamed on Speed Gaming. That will be Gaming 236. I'm going to remind everybody to follow the runners and follow our trackers, Akir and Yoinker's wife, who really helped us out. I think it would be almost impossible for us to commentate this with 4 streams without their assistance. Give a follow to my co-com, Dark Shadow, and make sure to also, I want to thank our restreamer, Kono Tyrant, who is the reason that we can be on the air for all of you today.
Also, give a follow to Cole Papa Bell, who's the actual co-commentator.
Close enough.
Sorry, Cool Pop. I apologize. You're right next to each other, and I just read the wrong line. I apologize.
No problem.
Cool Papa, yes. Follow the link that's in chat. That's that's the best way to get to everybody's stream. That's how you have the correct link, and make sure you spell it correctly.
So yeah, thanks again to our runners, and thanks everybody for watching, and we will hopefully see you here next time for more great ALTTPR League action.